opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to the first ever Jodi Faith show. We are excited about telling the stories of regular people who have had extraordinary experiences, and it's my privilege to introduce you today to Catherine Fluter. Kathy is from Regina and has an amazing story to tell of healing. You have seen unbelievable, supernatural, kind of crazy healing in the life of your ex-husband. So take us from Saskatchewan to Ontario and what you discovered as you went into his home, seeing him for the first time in years.
Okay. We had been apart for several years, and he called me with just days left of life, and he said, I would like you to come because I don't want our youngest daughter to be alone at my time of passing. Wow. And so he asked, if I would come for that purpose. And when I went out there, I was actually very shocked. I've been with people at the point of death, having gone through cancer treatment and such. He was this skeleton, 6'3", but he was just skin stretched over bone. He was a skeleton of a man, and he just sat heaped on his side of his bed when he could sit up or when he got up. Just on his deathbed. The doctor had said days left, that's it.
He wasn't eating?
He hadn't eaten or drank anything for 3 weeks, no hydration. Okay. Everything he put down would come right back up. Try a piece of ice cream, it would come back up within minutes. Water would come back up within minutes. Wake up in the morning, dry heaves, just nothing, no hydration of any kind.
So did you expect that while you would be there, he would actually pass on, or did you believe that you came with a word for him, an idea that was going to change his world?
I have oftentimes in the past experienced healings myself or seen other people experience healings, and oftentimes I've seen lots of people who've died and never got their healing, but I think oftentimes we don't receive what God wants for us simply because there's some kind of a roadblock. And I had really felt that with Al, having lived with him for 29 years, over and over, he would hit a low point and say, I shouldn't be here today. I don't know why God doesn't just take me out. I was born 100 years too late, and those kinds of things. And so he had a lot of word curses over him. Okay,
let's just stop. A word curse, because he's just speaking negative as compared to, I know you'd said something to me, there's death and life in the power of the tongue. This is a belief that you have.
Absolutely.
And you believe that supernaturally he had actually kind of sort of his destiny was all tied up in these words that he had spoken.
Yeah.
All right.
You can take it from a scientific perspective, you can take it from a spiritual perspective, you can take it from, just a feeling perspective. Lots of people look at perspectives differently.
I agree.
Right? So if you take water, which is what we're made up of,
right?
75 to 90%, you can speak to water and it changes.
I know, I've heard this.
Form.
Okay, that's a YouTube thing. We're not going there on this Jodi Faith show. So anyway.
Okay, but it'll change its form. So the words that we speak, our words are not just idle words. They just, we think of cyberspace. There's all kinds of words out there.
So Al's sitting there in this almost fetal position.
Yes.
And you need to tell him, change the way you think or change the way you speak?
I felt I had prayed much about it, and I said to him, Al, what you're saying, you have constantly cursed yourself with your words, and
did he
need to
agree?
Change. I said, you need to, he didn't want to hear it, because to him it was, just too much to think about. He'd had too many people praying for him and hadn't seen an answer.
And he was done with all this anyways.
He was done with it. And I said, your death and life are in the power of your mouth.
Okay, so
you need to choose life and
so
not
he chose
choose
life.
death.
On
Up
some
until
level?
that point, he didn't want anybody praying, I am over with this. I just want to die. I'm closer to heaven than I am to this earth. I don't want to stay anymore because I sure as heck don't want to go through this process again. Like it was.
So he continued with this negative thing that was going on. So what was the shift? What happened and where did the shift come from?
It was actually it was a happy accident that happened because we had started to talk about that, and I had just begun myself.
I like that, a happy accident.
It was because I just began to speak into his life myself and just say, you know, Al, this is who you are. God sees you from this perspective. He does not see the damage, you know, that the things that you've done that were wrong. He looks at you and he looks at you as a son whom he loves, whom he approves of, who he adores, and he wants life for you. And so I would speak those things and it was kind of like, okay, well, yeah, maybe, you know.
But you could actually see a sense like he was starting to kind of receive this stuff?
Yes, he did start to begin to receive it.
Okay.
And so anyways, this happy accident happened. The nurse that came to his home to change his morphine pump and adjust it and everything.
Yeah.
She came and
long story short,
she pulled the plug before she made sure she had all the stuff to replace it. And so then when she went looking in her supplies, she didn't have what it took to replace.
She didn't have this morphine or whatever.
And we're 40 minutes out of town.
Okay.
So he is going 40 minutes without morphine, and she's just in a panic, not knowing how to fix it. And she said, well, I have another client I have to go to. I could come back. So I'm thinking, well, that's going to be another 2 hours. He's without morphine.
So you're gonna transport him to the hospital here,
so
right?
I said, Al, how are you feeling right now? And he said, I'm okay. I don't feel any pain. And she said, well, it's just because the morphine is kind of residual. I said, okay, well, why don't we take him into the hospital? They can reconnect the morphine. Well, on the trip into the hospital, all of a sudden, he wakes up and goes like, wow, I'm out of the fog. I'm out of the fog, Kathy. I forgot what this landscape looked like. Like this is, I forgot that there were swamps along this road. He said, you know, I could live like this. I said, that's the words you need to hold on to.
Okay.
And he said,
all because he's off of the morphine.
Yeah, all because he's off the morphine.
That's a whole other show, perhaps.
I said, okay, so you have no pain, you have no morphine, you're out of the fog. He said, no, I'm serious. I could live like this. I said, that's what you need. That's the words that need to come out of your mouth. Do you want to live? He goes, yeah, I would like to live. I said, then that's what you need to hold on to. So we got to the hospital. He sat and he's waiting for the doctors to come in, and they're trying to figure out how to reconnect the morphine pump because they don't have all the supplies. Finally, he said, Kathy, I don't want to go back on the morphine. I have no pain. I love not being in that fog. I don't want this anymore. I said, okay, well.
Okay, this is a guy that was like 3 days from death.
3 days from death.
And all of a sudden, this happy accident. I love that.
Yes.
I could write a song about that. Everything's changing. And did it continue to change?
Well, he sat there and I said, so Al, I said, do you realize that now before this all happened, you just wanted death. You didn't want anybody praying even to hope for healing. You just wanted out of here. I said, now you're feeling like this. I said, now do you really want life? He goes, I want to live. I said, then say it with your mouth. Say, I shall live and not die. Because God says that death and life are in the power of our tongue first. Then circumstances can change. So I said,
and this is actually going to work. Like this. I mean, this is what's so cool. I know the way the story ends. Like it actually works.
He said, yeah. And I said, no, it's not enough for me to say it. You need to say that. He said, okay. I said, say it. Say, I shall live and I shall not die. He goes, okay, I will live. I am going to live. I am not going to let this thing beat me. I am going to live. I will not die. And so anyways, they came in. The doctor said, he said, I don't want the morphine anymore. The doctor said, well, you can't go off morphine cold turkey, blah, blah, blah. So finally, he said, well, we'll cut it in half. And Al says, you've got 3 days to have me weaned off this. I'm not staying on the morphine. Serious.
Wow.
So we got home, and his girlfriend came that night and was going to be staying. I said, well, you don't need me around anymore. I'm going to go visit. My daughter said, she wanted to go with me just to get a break away. Well, the morning we left, he ate. He got up that morning, and he ate 3 bowls of cereal, bacon and eggs and toast. He wanted there was 3 kinds of fruit, and he wanted some yogurt to finish off the meal. And then later in the day, he went in and had 2 hamburgers and fries.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, a large root beer, and he couldn't quite finish the chocolate dip ice cream cone at Dairy Queen.
Get out.
No, I'm serious. And he has not been sick to his stomach ever since. He's totally off the morphine.
Get out. Okay, so how long ago was this?
Oh, that was the 24th of August, I believe.
Seriously, 3 days to live?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now it's like, we're into October, right?
Yes.
And he's fine?
He's fine. He actually,
No way.
yes, he actually is going back to his previous ministry that he was involved in, charitable ministry, and he's, the last word I got was he's joined the Y so he can rebuild his muscle tone. And he's gaining weight and he's totally in a recovery mode because God's word is true, and when he got rid of the roadblock that was keeping him from being able to receive
This
what
word curse thing, speaking negative
that God
stuff.
had in mind for him, because
Wow.
Jesus took care of it all.
Okay,
He made provision
I want
for
to
us
talk
be
to
healed.
our viewers.
Yes.
Because I believe that there might be people out there who might just be a little skeptical or kind of wonder, really, truly, this is true. I mean, you're telling me this. I believe it's true. Mm-hmm. If you have stories that you would like to share, if you have these kind of supernatural, crazy, amazing encounters that you'd like to, talk about, give me a shout. Jodi Faith and the Jodi Faith Show. It has been amazing to be with you, Kathy. Thank you. Bless you. I don't get it, but I believe you. I do believe you. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with some crazy, amazing, wonderful Red Hatters. Perhaps we'll have dessert first.